Name's Sidkriken, and welcome back to the channel. Now, obviously, for the past 2 to 3 weeks, ever since BlizzCon, everyone has been having literally both Blizzard and Diablo Immortal on their mind like no tomorrow. It's just been insane to honestly see how many people are absolutely upset and actually more intrigued by why Blizzard decided to even make this decision at all. If anything, for some odd reason to not even come forward and admit that most likely they might have messed up. So let's talk about today about why I feel Blizzard is most likely going down a path that they may not be able to return from. So Diablo Immortal, ever since the announcement of this, has definitely changed the perception of how people see Blizzard, because for a lot of people, Blizzard is a very well-known AAA developer in the gaming industry for many years. A lot of people have mostly known Blizzard for World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, and Overwatch as of now. But that doesn't really help the fact with it being that they have been so respected for such a long time. And when you think about these things, when a company makes a bad decision, at times it's fine, you know, when you love the company and you're like, that's cool, that's fine, you know, sometimes we all make bad decisions. You probably could have done something better, then that's fine. But when it comes to why such a decision with Diablo Immortal is huge and why possibly a lot of people are going to be seeing Blizzard in a different light, is because of how the way that they did it. They did it in a way that did not really think about it at all. They were just like, screw it, we're just going to announce this. We're not going to kind of go through and do this in a proper way that also won't alienate our huge hardcore PC fan base that loves and supports our games for such a long time, to the point where like it doesn't make any sense. It's just not logical. There could have been so many other different methods that they could have done to make this announcement just seem way less of a huge controversy that is now, because of how much negative press that they're going to be getting for it, and especially the way that they did it and the way that the people that announced it said it, and the way that they responded to the people that weren't really too happy about it either. A lot of people I know for a fact are probably going to be talking about how the whole idea of it being that Blizzard we are seeing now, the Blizzard we are seeing right now, is going to start going corporate. And what I mean by that is that obviously for a lot of people that see these big companies that get acquired by huge publishers like Activision, which are mostly well known for Call of Duty, and you already know when it comes to Call of Duty, the microtransactions, the loot boxes, it goes on and on and on, and it's terrible. It's just absolutely terrible. When you think of a company like that acquires a company that you love, that's been so respected for such a long time, for making amazing, memorable games that you've spent your childhood, your middle school years, your high school years, your college years, any of that playing through and making friends and new memories with them, to then just go down this negative road of obviously not caring about their fans, not caring about the idea of what it is that what their fans want, and just creating these games that are just completely lifeless. Just the whole idea of the game being made of just acquiring money and not for the sake of actually making a game to enjoy it, to actually get away from whatever else you're doing in your daily lives. A lot of this stuff worries fans, especially me, because I've always been a fan of Blizzard ever since I was literally in middle school. For me, I really didn't get into Blizzard games until I was in middle school, where my dad told me about a commercial that was called World of Warcraft, and they mentioned about the games, and it was a fantasy game. So I managed to go and buy it with my dad, and we ended up getting the battle chest, where I took a lot of time to play the game and enjoy it. And it was a lot of fun for me through that time of middle school and early high school, because I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I was just this 12 to 13-year-old kid around that time that played it, and I didn't understand the majority of things that were there, but I still loved going around in this kind of fantasy world, taking my time to do quests and get things for people and having a wonderful time. And as well as a Diablo fan as well too, it does kind of suck, because you have to think of it this way. Any sort of announcement after years and years of playing this game, it would have been absolutely amazing. And ever since, as of lately, I have been getting into the game. I've gotten back into the game again and just doing the story and enjoying it. I really think that all of this is just like a huge disappointment. And it definitely gets me upset, because it's like, why would you guys do it in this way? Everyone's been talking about this for the most part, but as well too, I'm really glad that tons of people are actually starting to speak up about this. I think in this day and age, it's really good to see that consumers are finally starting to speak up on what they feel is just not right in terms of being super anti-consumer and things that are just, why would you add this? This doesn't make any sense. So when it came to just how Diablo Immortal is this huge controversy that comes up, it kind of shows a reality of where there's a disconnect between a lot of game developers, huge game developers, and their fan base, especially nowadays. And we're kind of seeing more and more of this sort of trend. There is some game developers out there that do pay attention to their fans and what it is that they want. This is becoming more and more of a trend where everything is getting to the point where obviously a lot more of these companies are seeing that gaming is now a lot more monetization on it. So you're able to just throw tons of money, and tons of people who play games every single day will just come out and just pay buku money to get their hands on these products. And obviously I'm one of those people. We're getting to the point where a lot of these companies and everything with games, it's getting to the point where the early PS2, the Xbox days, the GameCube days, all those days where everyone used to go over to a friend's house, or they used to play with their brother or sister on a lot of games and they enjoyed them. That's why they're the most memorable, is because they're these games that they didn't have microtransactions. They didn't have this or that was like super, you had to buy this or pay money for this, or you had to get a DLC for this. It was a full game. It was an enjoyable experience that you could remember, and you could just remember back to the good old nostalgic moments of just playing with your friends and having a wonderful time. And now we're kind of losing that more and more every single like year when it comes to these newer games and announcements. It just seems like every single week there's something new that a game company has done, and Blizzard has pretty much toppled, so far from what I've seen, a lot of these other developers in terms of alienating their own fan bases. And it's a shame, because none of this is like, it doesn't have to be this way, but at the same time it is, because of so much that's going on with a lot of the gaming industry and how crazy corporate it's going. In conclusion, what I feel is that, honestly, as a fan of Blizzard games, as a fan of Diablo, all of this, it does suck, because it feels like Blizzard is going down a path that is of no return. And the more and more that they keep doing this, the more that they're alienating all of their fan base. And it's just terrible, because it's putting them in this negative light. It's ruining and tarnishing a part of their name, as now they're going more and more into the greedy little corner of, let me just get every single dollar and penny I can out of you in these games now, than anything before. Obviously, yes, I get it. For a lot of people that are probably going to say Diablo Immortal is going to be very well in the Chinese market and all the other stuff, that's fine. But at the same time, you got to think of it as the motive. This wasn't only just for China. This was mentioned for everyone that apparently liked, quote unquote, the Diablo experience. It wasn't just for one market. It was meant to be for everyone, and it got a lot of negative feedback, hands down. So yes, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys really did enjoy it, feel free to thumbs up that button. It really does mean a lot to me, as I can't speak that well right now because I'm just like, my mind is just everywhere. But yes, if you really do like these videos, again, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Talk with me about this. I would love to talk a lot with you guys, speaking more about this. And just, it's just such an interesting thing right now that we're seeing in the gaming industry, and especially within games and game companies, is that there's such a kind of weird divide between both the developers and their fans, and it's crazy to even think about. If anything else, if I missed anything and you definitely want me to talk about it, leave a comment in the entire section down below. Have a discussion with me, and I will check you guys out in another video. Take it easy. Have a lovely, wonderful afternoon and or day. Sidkriken, peace.